I've got a Bosch style Zexel injector pump. It's 410 21 is the number on the housing itself. So I've got a few things I'm just going to point out before I actually do the assembly of it, just so things go back together easily, properly. So we've got a geared sleeve that has a slot shaped, oblong shaped hole in it. It has a little groove that's also cut in it. We use that to orientate the sleeve to the rack when we assemble it. And there's a corresponding groove in the rack. So keep that in mind, that the groove in the geared sleeve and the rack will both be in line. As well, if this is the plunger, it has a diagonal slot that's been ground in it to vary the fuel, the volume of fuel that's going to be pumped through. It also has a little slot that's ground on the body of the D that we're going to line up with the little groove that's cut on the geared sleeve. We're going to line those when we do our assembly of it. The barrel that our plunger fits into to create the high pressure, it has a groove also that's cut in it, and when assembled, the little line that's cut on the plunger body lines up with it, so they'll be in line. So what I do is a sub-assembly on the barrel itself. There is a shoulder that's ground, and it has to seat on the shoulder that's in the bottom of the body barrel here as well. So when I drop this into place, there's a pin that it lines up with. So that's it in position. It's down the shoulder. The shoulders are mating, and that prevents the fuel from flowing down into the crankcase. So then I take my little check valve. It's my check valve. Put it in place. I have a little copper crush washer. Put it in place. Smaller of the two springs fits over top of the little collar that protrudes from the shut-off. I've got my the injector collar, the nut, locking nut. It fits right over top of that assembly, and then I just snug it up, and that holds this all in place. We'll go back and we'll tighten it on final assembly. So it has a larger hole on the one side of the body itself, and I line it up in the same in position with the low pressure intake supply port. Drop that down. 2 10mm pentahead bolts. With the bolts in place, it's time to assemble the rack. The groove in the center of the rack, put it in the center position. Now we line up the geared sleeve, which has the little groove cut in it. We drop it in place, make sure that they're both lined up. So the groove on the geared sleeve is in line with the line on the rack. I take my plunger, the diagonal slot that's on it, and the groove on the head of it. They're both in line on the same side as the groove on the geared sleeve. I start it. We've got the spring collar, drop it down in place. So it's bottomed out. The large spring drops over top. We've got the retaining clip for the plunger, drop it down into place. We'll just push the plunger down so that the D-shaped body on it fits into that geared sleeve. Then we have our little roller driver assembly. It has the spacer that's in it. Put it down in place. We have the little retaining pin with the slotted head. Push that in. I just line the grooves up. And then we have the spring retaining clip that fits in the groove. There we have it. I hope that helps.